Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Felix here at the Heart Centre. I've just come here today to do an energy update from March and a couple of things that I've been noticing and seeing within the fields and really experiencing as well. I mean, this month has been such a month of transformation and quite experiential growth as well, which has just been really interesting to see how that's played out. Every single one of my clients have been going through something similar, and people that I'm kind of communicating with as well, they've all had something similar within this growth period, this period of refinement of the divine masculine. It's refinement of the sacred masculine and the solar plexus fields. So this is really interesting, actually, just to see how collectively how all of this is kind of taking place and working to evolve. And we're going to get into that. Just beforehand, we'll do a couple of announcements. So we've got an Equinox event on the 21st of March at 6 p.m. I will be in Ireland at the time. I am doing grid work in Ireland over the 20th to the 24th. So the event is going to be on the 21st at 6 p.m. UK time. This will be recorded as well, as always, really. So just to kind of bear the reference point of that, we're coming into a 3-year cycle of the seeding of New Earth, of the actual like the birthing of New Earth, if you will. At this period, at this equinox point. So I feel it's going to be quite the catalyst for a lot of strong change. It's going to be a catalyst for birthing anew, and it's going to be the catalyst for seeing a lot more institutions kind of coming down and collapsing. So yeah, this will be a really interesting equinox period this year in 2023. The other events that I've got going on are on the 6th of March, which is the Self-Care Monday, and then following on from that, the group grid discussion. So if any of you haven't seen this already, you can just go to my website. I'll just get that up and just show you how to locate this. So if you were to go onto my website and then click here in the more, and then go down to grid working, training and development, we've got the grid work training video from the group grid discussion on the 6th of February, and then a detail about where we're going to go, or where we did go. And then we've got the actual grid work session as well. So that was like really quite amazing, actually. And it really feeds into what we're going to discuss and talk about today. And what these different kind of areas are being coming forwards collectively and for myself on an individual level, and how that interplays with what's been kind of going on with the collective energies at the moment. So, oh, do I have any? Yeah, and on the 23rd, I think it is, we've got the actual grid work session. So we're going to follow the same dates as this month, sorry, February. No, we're not following them into March because I'm going to be in Ireland that week. So it'll be the week afterwards on the 30th, I believe. So yeah. Right. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into this update. Now, my God, from the Imbolc gateway, which we saw the green comet coming over the planet at the time. Pretty much from that start point, from that gateway, I was getting a lot of really strong references to the collective consciousness, and really having quite heavy, strong guidance to go in and eat a lot of mushrooms as well, which is not something I would usually eat. It's not my most favorite thing, but now I love them. So yeah, it all started with a mushroom for this grid work thing, which then took me into the understanding of the mycelium and the mycelium network and how they're all interlinked. Every mushroom is interlinked through this mycelium network. So that would really be the representation of the collective consciousness of mushrooms. So there is a reason why I'm talking about this, because the more I was diving into this concept and this understanding, the more I was being taken over into the rainforests in Africa. And what has really transpired from this, it was the development of it was the development of understanding how the collective consciousness can be navigated and can be moved through. But also within that, the collective woundings that were presented through this field, which I thought was very interesting, because it's taken me really deep into understanding the archetypal energies of the masculine. Now, these archetypal energies have been coming forwards to be healed and restored on a collective level and also on an individual level. Another way to really look at this would be to break down the archetypes. So if we take the warrior archetype as an example here, and within that warrior archetype, we use the translation of the warrior as a body, and a body in and of itself, and then work to scan that body and see where the woundings are being held. So as that was being connected into, this warrior template, this warrior body, was kind of coming forwards as a tribal warrior, a tribal essence. So as that developed further, and I was observing and understanding, this was like the start point to, or one of the leads to where we went to with the grid video. So, excuse me. So within that tribal, the tribal body, what I was really strongly noticing was this reversal current within the solar plexus. All right. So we look into the solar plexus and we really start to break it down, understanding it and how the energy of the solar plexus was running this reversal disempowerment current, was so, don't even know what the words I would use for this. It was so apt to find how this was interplaying, and then reflecting into my own life and having clients coming forwards and having the same storyline running through, which was essentially people had come in and claimed sovereignty over your energy, or my energy or their energy. So they were essentially running a siphoning network of taking your own or their own or my own consciousness into their own kind of momentum to feed their own anger, feed their own fury, feed their own fear, by disempowering you, I, they, in that kind of imbalanced manner. So as this is all unfolding, what I'm also realizing at the same time is how this story is interplaying with the collective, interplaying with the collective energies and how we can see this reflected in our reality. So it's when we look to our reflection within the reality, what have we got coming up? We've got forced digital IDs. We've got a lot and numerous things that have gone on, which I'm not going to go into because we all know what they are. But this latest one in the UK, anyway, is this digital ID situation, where it's being imposed to have these kind of monitoring and surveillance infrastructure placed within our realities, and being basically trying to bring in a social credit score, which is rating how healthy you are or how you are not exercising, or, you know, there's rewards for this and punishments, from what I understand in China anyway, which is somewhere that I lived before. They implemented that now, punishments for not abiding by these rules. Now, who the hell gave these people the permission to allow this to come in? Who gave them permission to do this? None of us. Nobody. I certainly didn't. So, you know, we can start to see these layers of control, these abuse, and these streams of consciousness that are coming in to disempower the collective, disempower the population. Many, many different countries, and different storylines within each. I certainly don't consent to this. So I don't know about other people. I'm pretty sure anyone who watches this channel is on the same page as me. However, just moving through this. Now, going through this restructuring and restoring of the tribal body in this grid work session, and seeing where the tribal body had held disempowerment, just working to restore this. And then as the grid session developed, it also went into West Africa, the slavery routes, and then also into the Trail of Tears, which is when the colonization took place, I believe in 1838, and moved the Native Americans from their homes in Georgia, in just north of Florida, and around that east coast, around that east area of the US, and get them to move over 5,000 miles from their homes to Oklahoma. The sheer arrogance of it all, to push people out of their homes without their consent and get them to move, right? So with all of this control, manipulation, distortion coming forwards, this essentially back then, and going even further back into the 1400s, to the natives. Now, this is really interesting because after this grid session had completed, my friend Sue had sent me a video of Sacha Stone talking about how, I believe in 1432, colonizers were moving into the natives areas in I think it was in South America. I couldn't actually open the video, but she gave me the layman's terms on, or the Cliff Notes edition, where the natives were asked to essentially worship this religion that the colonizers were pushing onto them, and they turned and said no and saluted the grand central sun. Now, as this transpired, the colonizers then went on to massacre all of these people, which then led to that control, that energy, that reversal current of the solar plexus. There was still strength within that, but then progressively, as time went on, that pushing and pushing and pushing, the persecution, the control, manipulation, the movements of the households really transpired. And as we were working through this body, it was the solar plexus coming to work to restore itself. Okay, so this has been really interesting in how the energetics are now coming to a switch to correct the spins of the solar plexus, of the empowerment and the sovereignty flows within that body, within that masculine tribal body. But as that developed with this video that Sacha Stone brought forwards, I just found it so interesting how what he was saying was essentially on the 24th and the 25th of February this month, the timelines of that wounding were closing. So it's like everything of that kind of momentum was drawing to a close, and therefore people had to stand up and support themselves in whatever manner that may be, in the individual lives, whether it's standing up to certain people who have been taking the piss, whether it is standing up to colleagues or bosses, or even sometimes even within your own structure, when you sit there and believe everything that your mind tells you, it causes internal control, and it's that control that you're allowing to be placed upon yourself. So that in and of itself, I thought was absolutely like surreal. But how that's been interplaying out with everybody around me as well, including my own little storylines here and there, which we all kind of have. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So that was the Trail of Tears and the solar plexus. So this solar plexus energy is coming to a point where it's now ready to correct itself. Now, I really do actually recommend going and watching that video on my website, on the Gridwork page. It is long, but if you can sit there and tune in, there's a lot of codes that come through within the transmissions, within the healings, that you too can integrate within yourself as well. So I really do recommend that as some good listening and some good watching, and diving in. There's a lot of healing in there for the individuals as well. Yeah. Okay. So all of this kind of calibration through the grids has really led to a massive shift in dynamic, shift in healing the archetypes, particularly the ones of the warrior, the masculine energy to come back into a level of empowerment and really start to collapse out the wounding, collapsing out the disempowerment, and collapsing out all areas where we aren't honoring ourselves and our empowerment. So that has been really interesting to see. Now I'm kind of feeling as well what's going to be coming through with this at a later date will be the integration and the realization of all these other times that we've kind of allowed ourselves to fall back on ourselves, to please other people, to keep the peace, to maintain a level of calm. And this also can be coming into these layers where we are telling ourselves we need to act in a certain way. And by doing this, acting in this certain way, we completely miss all of our own needs. So, you know, when we miss these needs, we aren't aligned in our truth or our authenticity, because what we're doing here is we are giving ourselves up, martyrism template, to please others, to portray this essence of light that isn't authentic, because we're not honoring ourselves in the process. Now, this is all sacred masculine understanding, and obviously it is to be in service to others that we are dedicated and in service to others. But at that same time, it's knowing when we need to nurture and love oneself in the process, and not allow that to really fall back and collapse, because then we run into layers of depletion. We run into layers of lack, and I would even go as far to say as like dishonor as well. So yeah, this is all quite interesting. So I'm also feeling as well with this, it's like with this restoration of the solar plexus, with this correction to the empowerment, and the claiming back of what is rightfully ours, however that may look for you on an individual level or within the collective levels, we can see that this is people finding their voice. It is people standing up and collectively saying enough is enough. It's about time as well. It's about time that this sort of things happened. Not saying that it hasn't been happening, but it's about time, and all in divine timing as well. That this level of strength is coming back. It's being restored. So yeah. So within that restructuring the warrior, I feel that there's going to be a lot more people that are standing for what they believe in on a more personal level. And I'm not just talking about the awake and aware ones, but I'm also talking about the ones who are realizing what's been going on and waking up to the corruption, and really taking their time to reorder and reconstruct their belief systems and their own empowerment. So obviously what comes with this is massive anger. So much anger, because everything was told to them that was a lie. Everything that was told to them was a lie. And how do you really go about that, where you're initiating this kind of change and growth? How can we see this timeline flip and reverse in the future? Are we going to see this where it had gone through a downward spiral to flick back up again? I feel so. I feel, yeah. I feel that it's the potentiality of this to almost like as an opening point to really strengthen and embody. So I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen in 3 years' time. If this is the now point, and I feel it, if this is the now point for change, or that maximization to come into this uproar flow of strength and sovereignty, then bring it on. It's going to be great. And I feel it in my bones. It feels I can feel it all over my shoulders now as I'm saying this. It feels accurate. It feels right. So where do you stand in all of this is the question. Are there areas where you still haven't commanded the control and work to extract it, the work to reverse these reversal spins within your own energy field? Where would this sit within you? So we can take the solar plexus as a starting point. All these areas that would host disempowerment, that would host anxiety, anger, any area in your life where you're being pushed around. How does that translate to your energy? It's a very interesting topic when we start to dive into this. And then we can see within our own fields where our warrior, the warrior archetype, the warrior templating is out of balance, out of sync. And then start to correct it. So we look to this reversal spin network, this reversal of energy, and just see how would a balanced solar plexus look? Where are we letting other people push us around? And I think it's just really great if I know I've been doing this, is journaling these kind of pinpoints and understanding why this has been happening, why, I mean, I always journal anyway, but understanding why all of this kind of, excuse me, reversal spin cycle has been happening and why we've been letting it happen. So we can then come into this level of awareness and correct it essentially, which then has a knock-on effect to the archetypal healing. It has a knock-on effect through your entire universal structure actually. But then taking it into the archetype of the warrior, filtering it into the collective. And what I was shown with this reconstruction and this bridging of awareness is how the interplay between light and dark, the dark becomes triggered and it kicks and screams and throws a tantrum. But within that trigger response, the trigger response of the shadow, this is when your own power comes back. And that will work exactly the same with the collective as well, which really is quite a fantastic thing if you think about it. How one's own experience, one's own empowerment lessons come in and flip the whole script. So how can you shift that in yourself? Where can you identify that within yourself? It's quite the journey. So that's really kind of my update for this month, is just seeing how the development of these spin reversals are going to be taking momentum, but also how do we move forwards from this? And that would be to really start looking into integrating and understanding why we fell back in the first place. And I can tell you now, it's not just with the tribal body. They host the portion of it, the proportion, the majority proportion, but it's also, we're looking through all of these different fragmented layers and starting to reconstruct and rebuild, and taking this forwards. How would that then have an interplay through the next couple of months? Well, I feel it's going to be the growth into a real strong, solid empowerment. Everybody's role is important. Everybody is playing a key part, however that may look. And then working into remembering that this was all just a lesson to get us to grow, to get us to become strong. So that being said, let's jump in and do a short meditation. We can begin by taking a deep breath in, connecting into the breath. We're going to connect into the heart and solar plexus. Yaturasna atbunya mahi kia kirashna satya nasmatya. Pink roses connecting to the heart and solar plex. Yellow spins of clockwise corrections connecting through the solar plexus, through the discs. Emerald water moving through sky to floor. Purification graduating the spin through the solar plexus. Fruit in abundance laid before you in every color. Taking in the nutrients. The liquids. Expanding through the right side body. Lifting to release. Communication with the tribal body. As sacred fire in gold and yellow rises up through the scalar wave, working through the templating of the warrior, of the tribal. Lifting into resurrection, Re-emerging the templating where cracks and distortions sit and lay, building the templating to reconstruct with the fire. Restoring assertiveness. And it's with that resurrection of assertiveness, I feel all of this fear, shaky energy through the sacral begin to lift here. Reattuning. Releasing out cords, releasing out toxins, releasing out control frequency bands. Amulets of gold, bracelets of gold sit around the wrists and around the neck. Tribal architecture, tribal relics. Of the masculine empowerment. Yadna iya turashushum yatna iya kura atbus. Mohikia kireshne esi yaton to oti o nai kireshni iyam yatmai. Adorned around the neck and wrists, I see the body flash. The sounds of the tribal bodies open over Africa, over the South America. Solar plexus release, contention, strife, heavy, heavy anger and smoke. The burning bushfires. Mother Earth releases with you. Tiarasma atapushmi monya nahi Krishna isamyet. Tikirashna asu otopo iatra anayemnya yama ataponya. Finding forgiveness within self for the control, whilst also not standing for it. Here is the lesson of growth. Finding your sovereignty within the empowerment of saying no, but maintaining grace and dignity within the flows of forgiveness and understanding of the lessons of the experience. Bridging further unification through the collective tribal bodies, restoring through the network of the mental field, and purification of the perceptions, Nayotora Amnai, to how we view and look at the situations that we have been in. And finding that even keel of saying no. I'm not taking this anymore. And restoring that trust and faith within yourself, within your own empowerment, not having to wait for any savior to come in, because it ain't going to happen. The savior is you. It always has been, always will be. And with that understanding, the return of self-blessing, the return of self-actualizing, the return of self-empowerment. Yaturasma atapanya mahia Krishna ishimya nehia parasu utun nuskrushumya maahia krasnatas. Reconnecting in that tribal body, that golden tribal body, into your own technical interface, your own universal structure, and also bringing it down and connecting it through the solar plexus, the field of self-consciousness. And seeing how this warrior archetype, this tribal body, is defined. Within your own structure. Dignified, but assertive. Respectful but empowered. High vibrational polarities within the maintenance and correcting through your entire universal structure, layer by layer. And we're going to update now through all levels or layers of light. We're going to update now through all bodies and seal forward, sealing through all your channels, sealing through all of your layers, and sealing through the light fields with this new templating, restored, reconstructed templating of the warrior. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful month ahead. I will look forward to seeing you at the Equinox event as well. And at the grid work, I hope. And also Self-Care Monday. So have a lovely, lovely, lovely month. And I'll look forward to speaking with you again very soon. Lots of love. Bye.